All right. Good evening, everybody. If you can, somebody just let me know if you can hear me okay. Does the volume sound okay? Anybody? Awesome. Hi, Linda and Brian. Hope you both are well. Thanks for letting me know. Welcome, Jersey. It's a different setup here, so I just want to make sure that the sound is okay and that the image is probably better. Oh my God, I got Marisa and Vicky. I don't know why I even still do these classes. Between all of you, you should be able to do this class. All good. Thanks, Denise. All right, I'll give it another minute just before we get started here. It's a bit shiny, bright. Hang on one second. Oh, and Eddie. Hi, Eddie. That's much better. It's a different camera setup, and had this light like glaring in my face. So now I have it on one system, and I can just see you all. All right, so we'll go ahead and join palms. And you can repeat after me. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. And keeping the palms joined. And putting the palms down. All right, so once again, good evening, everybody. Thanks for being here. I always like to take the first few minutes for those of you who are new and just start with a little question just to give time for everybody to join in as well. And I think the question I have for you today is, did anyone's day go how you expected it to go? Did anyone's day go how you expected it to go? And assuming it did not, how did you respond when that happened? So there's your question. And I'll be right back. And if you are joining again for the first time, just go ahead and chime in on the chat box there, how your day went today, and or did your day go how you expected it to go? And if not, how did you respond? And I'll be right back. All right, let's see. Did your day go how you expected it to, Marisa? Nope, I cried. That works. Close enough. Yes, it was a pretty smooth day. Exactly not. I responded by eating too many chips, but remembering I had everything I needed, unless, of course, you finished all your chips, then you would need more chips. I should have had chips instead of crying. You could have cried and had chips. Both work. A no for Eddie, 1 a.m. work call. Response, made the most of it. Yeah, those are always fun. Hello, Marcel. It was good, but not what I expected. Jim, knowing there might have been overeating involved. Clearly more chips. Cynthia, never happens. Yeah, never, ever. Rarely, if ever. Good thoughts, good feedback. Just something that's always good to recognize that when you start your day, you may have some idea or expectation of how it's going to go, whether it's throughout your entire day or moments of your day. And in all likelihood, most days don't go how you expect them to go. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. I think Pete said it was a pretty smooth day. So, your day can go well. Sometimes we can expect to have a terrible day and maybe something goes well. So I think it's, for me, part of the practice of equanimity is to just embrace things as they occur and know that however your day goes, you have an opportunity to respond with kindness. So always a challenge, but that's what the practice is. So any other thoughts on how smooth your day went, or how miserable it was, or if it went anywhere remotely close to what you expected? My days typically, for me, I never really have much of an expectation of how the day is going to go. I just know each day is going to bring absolute craziness every single day. And so I guess if I look at it that way, and if I really think about my own question, uh, I expect every day to be completely insane and have so many different things going on. So in that regard, my days always go how I expect them to go. Not really knowing what the details will be, but just knowing that the entire day is going to be responding to a million different situations, and just saying, "Okay, here I am. Let's do this." So, all right. With that, we'll go ahead and get started with the meditation practice. If you are joining us for the first time, a couple things to tell you before we begin. Nothing's going to happen to you. You're not going to float away. You're not going to have any mystical, magical experiences. The mind that races all day long is not going to shut off. Don't judge your practice. I mean, you don't ask yourself, is this working? Is it not working? Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? We're just going to sit. We're going to breathe. You'll hear sounds inside the room, sounds outside. This is life. Life is filled with chaos, and the practice of meditation is learning to get quiet and still within all the chaos. So posture, you just want to find a position that's comfortable. If you're on a cushion, help slide into the front third. Pushing the stomach forward allows the back to straighten. Shoulders are relaxed. Hands can be on the knees or in the lap, whatever's comfortable for you. I'll suggest closing the eyes. If comfortable, or slightly open. Mouth will be open or closed. You want to try to stay awake. I'll say things periodically to wake you up. I'll remind you that you're lost in thought and bring you back to the present moment. So I will guide us as we begin, and we will settle into a little bit of silence. And starting with the eyes closed if comfortable, or slightly open, mouth open or closed. We'll start with taking 3 deep breaths slowly. And eventually, we'll settle into a natural rhythm of the breath, knowing throughout the practice you'll hear sounds. These are not distractions, not disruptions, simply what's happening around us as we sit. Noticing the mind as it wanders, jumping from thought to thought. Start with gently guiding the attention, focus to the stomach or chest. Breathing in, feel them rise. And breathing out, they fall. Simply continue this practice, observing sensation of breath. And as the mind wanders, lost in thought, recognize it, release that thought, return attention, focus to the breath. Where's your mind? Lost in thought? Return attention, focus to the breath. Letting go of expectations, letting go of judgment, simply sitting, breathing. Learning to be comfortable in stillness, in quiet, wanting nothing but to sit and breathe. keeping the mind alert, aware of each sound, each thought, each physical sensation, yet concerned with nothing but sitting, breathing. And with the body still, rested, and the speech quiet, aware of all sounds, and the mind learning to settle, know what it's like to just sit and breathe. knowing with each breath there's nothing else to do. Nowhere else to go. No one else to be. Everything beautiful, exactly as it is. Sitting, breathing. And once again, taking 3 deep breaths slowly. And as you slowly open the eyes, slowly begin to move. And most important, with the practice of meditation, is to recognize how you feel now, immediately after. Compare this to how you typically feel throughout your day. Recognize the difference, if there is one. Ask yourselves how you prefer to feel every day for the rest of your life. And realize however you feel now, if it's quiet, calm, and still, or a busy mind, racing mind, whatever you're sitting with at this moment, has nothing to do with anything I said. It's nothing to do with how we sit and hold the hands or cross the legs. It's nothing to do with the sounds around us or anything else for that matter. It has everything to do with your own mind and your own mind's reaction to an external condition. This is what the Buddha called pratitya samuppada, dependent origination. This is the basis of the Buddha's awakening. The word Buddha simply means awakened. He was a human being no different than any one of us who began to understand why he suffered, why he got angry, sad, depressed, stressed, anxious. He began to understand the causal relationship of all phenomena. And what that means, very simply, for all of us, regardless of where we come from or what we believe in or where we think we're going, our whole life is filled with things that happen, and we react. More stuff happens, more reactions. That's it. This practice is learning what it's like to respond to something quietly, peacefully, still. Because for most of us, the way we feel now is quite different from how we felt 20 minutes ago. So all we're working on is closing the gap where the way you feel now is closer to how you feel always. Just as driven, motivated, productive, successful, whatever that means to you in your respective lives. But with a mind that's steady, clear, and focused, distracted by nothing, disturbed by no one. It's not an easy practice. It's not necessarily fun, but it's free. Sitting, breathing, becoming aware of what you think, what you say, and what you do. Once we stop trying to change, fix, control, manipulate everything around us, and we work on changing our mind and our reaction to the world around us, life gets simpler. But it's not easy. I started tonight asking everyone if anyone's day went how you expected it to go. And what I've learned from the Buddhist teachings and the practice of equanimity is to work on staying balanced and steady regardless of how your day goes. What I've also learned from this path and this practice is to abandon all expectations. And if you abandon expectations, then your day will go how it goes, as opposed to comparing your day to how you hoped it went or how you want it to go or how you wish it went. It went better than you expected or worse than you expected. Our expectations are really what cause our challenges and our difficulties and our dukkha, our suffering. Learning to be with things as they are really is the practice. So ultimately, it doesn't really matter how you expected your day to go, because your day went how it went. The expectation just gives you some sort of baseline or bar to measure it against. And I've found this to be really the cause of a lot of suffering, not just with our day in general, but with anything specifically. That we have so many expectations, and these are really tied to the cravings and desires that Buddha talked about. That we crave and desire life to be a certain way, people to be a certain way, things to be a certain way. We crave and desire to have so much around us all the time, so much food or clothes or attention or whatever it might be. There's this constant craving. And a lot of it stems from these expectations. So years ago, I really tried to embody this practice of not expecting anything from anyone ever. And it's been, I think, very beneficial for me to just let go of expecting anyone to be a certain way. So with that, I'll stop, and I really prefer, especially if you're joining us for the first time, to welcome first of all, but to just turn it over to questions, meditation, Buddhist practice. For me, I always prefer to just address what's on your mind. And there's a chat box there on your screen, so you can just type a question in, and I'll go ahead and respond. So we'll use the next period of time for that. Questions, meditation, Buddhist practice, anything you're sitting with at this moment. Yes, the reminders. Thank you, Vicky. Me too. Just a daily reminder. Think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. Somebody should put that on a t-shirt. Or a hat, or a mug. Let's see, Lisa. My monkey mind seems even worse than ever. Any suggestions? Um, I think the first suggestion I have with a question like that is if you think about a few things I've already said during the meditation, before and after, really, but all around it, is to try to not judge your meditation practice, to try not compare it to anything, to try not to have any expectations of it should be this way or that way. Um, so, for example, my master used to always say, Jeff, instead of looking for answers to questions, change the way you ask your question. So, if you look at the question, Lisa, my monkey mind seems even worse than ever. What if you change that question to, uh, I have monkey mind right now? Because what that does is it then allows you to address the question of having monkey mind in this present moment and not comparing it to any way it was in the past or any way you expect it to have been, now or in the future, and just address how it is right now. And right now, it sounds like your mind is a bit of a mess with jumping and jumping and jumping. For anyone not familiar with the kind of monkey mind expression, is just think of a monkey in the trees and in the branches, and they're just swinging from branch to branch to branch. And that monkey jumping from branch to branch to branch is like our mind jumping from thought to thought to thought, topic to topic to topic, person to person to person, right? Our mind is often in this constant state of jumping. And the practice of meditation is learning to stay present, which is breathing in, I follow breath in, breathing out, I follow breath out. This is what the Buddha taught, Anapanasati Sutra. He said, when you're taking a short breath, know you're taking a short breath. If you're taking a long breath, know you're taking a long breath. So it was really just a simple observation and awareness of sensation of breath. So the only suggestion I really have for you, Lisa, is other than, and I just saw your comment here, other than, yes, try not to judge it, just be aware of it and recognize it. And my suggestion is just to continue practicing the meditation on a daily basis. And I get it in a practical, logical sense, right? You could say today or yesterday or the day before, my mind has been worse than it was a month ago or 2 months ago. And yes, I get it. That may be the case. But you can't fix what your mind has been like the last 2 months. And you can't fix what your mind is going to be like in the next 2 months. You can only fix what your mind is like right now. And if you work on fixing your mind right now, moment to moment to moment, then over a period of time, you'll have less of a monkey mind. So if you do have days or moments where it's jumping so much, just stop more often. Sit and breathe more often. You don't need to wait to a 7:00 class. You don't need to have your candles or incense or, whatever you use for meditation, music or whatever it might be. Sometimes throughout your day, just stop, close your eyes, and take 3 deep breaths. That's it. And just use that as a trigger to remind you to come back to present moment. So hopefully that's helpful, Lisa. Garden Hills, I find someone anger expectations of me to not affect me. However, I find it more difficult to deal with someone else's sadness that arises from that anger. Okay, let me see if I understand this correctly. So someone's anger expectations of you do not affect you. But when that person is sad because of the anger they have towards you, that upsets you? Am I understanding your question properly? If you can just clarify. So you don't like the sadness that they feel from the anger that they have towards you. That sounds like a lot of control issues right there. So I guess my follow-up question, if I'm even understanding the question, is, do you like to control people? Do you have control issues? Do you have difficulty embracing people as they are? Because it sounds like you're wanting to, in a way, control how they are towards you. And then you want to control their emotions towards you. I think it's important to, when we started our college group 5 years ago, Delta Beta Tau at San Diego State, and every Wednesday night for the last 5 years, we have a brief 7-10 minute meditation, and then we open up to feedback after meditation and then discussion. And we've instructed everybody from the beginning, and it still carries on today, that everything they say comes from I, meaning this is my experience. I am challenged with this. I struggle with this. Not about the yous and the theys and the thems, but about I. What is my role, my relationship? And understand that the question really is about you're saying you're okay in one way, but you're not okay in another, but it still all hinges upon them. I also think it's important to, again, without really knowing anything behind the question, to begin to explore why they're mad at you to begin with. And did you have any role in that? Years ago, there was a woman, and she said her wife just dropped her off, and her wife was really upset at her. And she wanted to know how to be okay with her wife being upset at her. And I said, did you do something to upset your wife? And she said, yes. And I said, wait a minute, let me understand this correctly. You did something that upset her, and now you want to feel better because she's upset. You want to feel better about yourself, instead of recognizing, what did you do to cause this anger? And I think that's critical to begin to understand our role in something, in any situation. In general, or even very specifically, yes, I understand, back to your question, that when other people are sad, we don't like that. And I'm not suggesting that you do, but they are choosing their emotions, and we can't control them. So hopefully that's helpful. Please suggest the best book to practice mindfulness in Buddhist way. Oh, that's a really tough one. There are so many books out there. There are books on, general Buddhist practice. There's books very specifically towards, for me, Zen, which is meditation practice. There's a book that, as a Zen practitioner, that I love. It's a Dogen book, which is titled Beyond Thinking. And I found that to be a really beautiful text. Dogen would say that when the mind and body fall away, you're left with breath, and it's beyond thinking. From a mindfulness practice, there was a great Zen teacher years ago, and he used to always say the best book to read on Buddhism is the autobiography of yourself. And so if we think about what it means to practice mindfulness, to practice awareness, to practice compassion, we have to begin to understand, where do we lack mindfulness? Where do we lack compassion? Where do we lack awareness? And if we can begin to understand where we lack these things in our own life, then, the books are beautiful and they're helpful. You can look up Access to Insight, and you can find the Pali Canon right there, all the Buddhist teachings right there. I think a lot of Thich Nhat Hanh books are phenomenal. Pema Chodron books are phenomenal. Chogyam Trungpa books are phenomenal. So those are all really good authors, I think, for explaining Buddhist teachings and mindfulness practice. So I hope that's helpful. I still say the best intro to Buddhism book I've ever read is Lotus in the Stream by Master Xing Yun. It's all the core Buddhist teachings: Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path, Paramitas, Dependent Origination, Karma, Rebirth, all these kind of really core teachings summed up in about 15 pages each chapter. Isaac, yo, what up, Big Jeff? Wait, I have to close my eyes because I want to see you saying that to me and then like hugging me. It's funny, I gave my talk last week, or the last 2 weeks for the college group, and the topic the night was the 5 precepts, which was always fun because we go through no lying, no killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, no intoxicants. And I always say, sexual misconduct and intoxicants are phenomenal topics with college kids. And I find that the mind, as it really goes through this practice at different stages, is really fascinating. And so Isaac, who I originally knew from the college group, I was just picturing you like giving me that hug, and brought me back to the college stuff and just that crazy experience, and how I always share that life is magical just as it is. All right, so I'll stop rambling. Hope all is well, good sir. I was wondering if you could talk a bit about balance. Recently, I've been feeling a bit taxed with sorting through all my various responsibilities. How much should I devote to work versus other activities that fulfill me? The middle path is an idea that really speaks to me. Are there any markers that I would suggest that I am becoming too consumed with one pursuit? Oh, are there any markers that would suggest that I'm becoming too? Wow. Let me kind of maybe work in reverse here. I would say that, yes, there are markers that you are becoming too consumed with one pursuit, because you've joined this tonight and you've asked this question. So being the brilliant man that you are, that is now going to be studying psychology at Yale, I think, you understand that there is the mind that triggers constantly. And the simple fact that you're asking the question about, am I becoming too consumed, means there's something in you that's making you question that and becoming aware of it and really challenging you. So I would say, if you're asking the question and you're sitting here with us tonight, that you're potentially becoming too consumed with one pursuit. Again, going backwards, the middle path is a beautiful balance to find. But, I wish that there was a simple answer to that. You well know there's not. But I think the middle path is going to change for you as you grow and as you change. But also, especially at the stage of life that you're in, find balance, but you're going to be out of balance at times. And I think that if you can, push yourself to an extreme at certain points in your life, that's probably going to be beneficial and important and practical, or realistic, I should say. I think that as you're pursuing life and education and the passion for whatever it is you want to do, you're going to get out of balance. And I think it's just important to remember that if you can reflect on, hey, this is me out of balance right now, and not let it consume you completely and not let it destroy you, and find things like a meditation practice, like a community to sit with, whatever it might be. Find things that help bring you back to balance. But you're at a stage in your life right now where you are absolutely going to be out of balance quite a bit. And I think part of it is embracing that and accepting that and knowing that, hey, that's part of this journey. I mean, all of our lives are different, but I think of all the times that I have lived in such an extreme out of balance way. And not that that was healthy or beneficial, but what it taught me was how far can I go in one direction before I need to make sure I come back. So, uh, all the responsibilities, yeah, definitely. I mean, you're going to feel overwhelmed, absolutely. And I think the balance, even if you just break it down on a day-to-day basis, if you spend 80% of your day completely out of balance, I'm not saying this is healthy or good. I'm just saying it's realistic. If you spend 80% of your day completely out of balance, just make sure that that 20% is really, really grounded and really bringing you back to the core of who you are. Because you're going to spend a lot of days, the next few years doing things that you might not love to do. And just keep reminding yourself that that's not, those things don't define you. It's not who you are, but you're learning from all of that. So if you constantly try to live this just mundane, as I always talk about the kiddie rides at Disneyland, if you're just trying to live this mundane life where everything is balanced, I don't think that that's very practical and realistic for most people, especially someone like you who is very driven, very motivated, and will excel at everything you do. Um, Trying to always be balanced is actually going to hold you back. That's just my personal opinion. Um, so be out of balance at times and know when to reel it back in, if that's helpful, I hope. All right, Dave, more of an observation, but it's interesting to function in a society that has so many expectations and have to set expectations, goals for others, but try not to have expectation yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Um, I mean, our entire society is driven on expectations. You go to kindergarten, they want you to go to first grade. Nobody says stay in second grade forever, right? No parents are like, hey, you're in second grade, let's just stay here. No, there's this constant expectation for us to um, evolve and be better and stronger and faster and quicker and smarter. And everything is like more, 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 more. And I really believe that that constant push and that constant expectation, almost similar to Isaac's question, if we don't know how to come back from that, it can destroy us. But that is the world we're in. And so, yes, it can be challenging if you're trying to really keep your expectations of yourself and others in check. But we're surrounded by expectations every day. Yes, it's going to be very difficult. Isaac, thanks. I was really appreciate you too, my friend. Yeah, I think that, and for those who've never aren't familiar really with the middle path, or maybe new to Buddhism, the Buddha really taught how important the middle path is, finding balance. Great metaphor. I think I mentioned this last week, but was a guitar string. And if you play it and the strings are too tight, it'll snap. If it's too loose, it won't play. So the Buddha was really teaching about finding balance and finding that middle path. And that middle path is going to be different for everyone. But to begin to recognize what are your extremes on both sides, and then where can you find balance and where does it make sense for you to have balance. And again, these will be different with different areas of your life. Some of us are extreme with the amount of food we eat, or we're extreme with the amount of clothes that we have, or we're extreme with our relationships or our behaviors or whatever it might be. And so look at the different areas of your life, pieces of your life, and try to begin to become aware of where am I extreme and where do I really lack balance. I think the awareness of it is the first step. I think that's critical. Robin, greetings to you, my kind sir. Any other kind of final thoughts or questions before we wrap up here? Okay, Lita. Hello, Lita. I think the last thing I'll say on balance after I take a drink is that you think of like a lot of tree metaphors, and Eastern philosophy and Taoism and Buddhism. But the thing with balance is to understand that, a tree, a really tall tree, is going to get swayed in the wind, and it'll get pushed really far one way and it'll get pushed really far the other way. But if the roots are firmly, planted and deeply rooted in the soil, um, when that hurricane is pushing the tree far in one direction, it'll get pushed, but it won't break. And then it'll go all the way back to the other direction. It'll get pushed, but it won't break. So as you sway out of balance, just continue to ground yourself and really deepen the roots. The roots are your practice. It's your heart. It's your compassion. It's your mindfulness practice. It's your meditation. It's your kindness. It's, all the things you learn in Buddhism. These are the things that really firmly root our consciousness and root the essence of, our practice in our day-to-day lives. And if we keep that firmly rooted in the ground and it's deep, and we take care of that, when we get out of balance, we'll always come back to center. So, all right, so I'll close on that. And actually, I talked about this last week, that when the joining of the palms, the mudra, my master used to say everything from the past and everything from the future. And then it just comes together in this present moment. And really, this is kind of that center. This is that balance. This is that grounded nature. So it can also just become a trigger to rooting yourself back to this present moment. So, and we'll close with a transfer of merit. You can join palms. May the benefit of this practice be shared with all beings in all directions. May all be at peace. May all be free from suffering. So just a few comments before you all head off here. Thanks for joining. My name is Jeff. I'm a Dharma bum. We opened up the Dharma Bum Temple 14 years ago to introduce Buddhist practice. Those of us who lead, we're not monks, we're not nuns, we're not gurus, we're not masters, we're not teachers, we're not looking for students. We're just practitioners. We do our best to take our understanding of Buddhist teachings and put it into terms that hopefully make sense to those who show up. We closed on March 12th. We've been closed since, but in many ways, I feel like we're working harder than ever before just to make sure we maintain a virtual Sangha, virtual community. So everything we do, and Tuesday, Wednesday, everything we do is online now. About 90% of our classes. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights are on YouTube. Alex, Travis, and myself. I do Saturday morning as well. Everything else is on Zoom. Recovery classes, our college classes, our teen classes, Monday through Friday, every morning we sit. So just go to the website. You can go on the calendar. It'll tell you when to join us. And like I said, even though we've been closed since March, a lot of people have worked really hard to really maintain and even grow this community virtually. So thank you all for being here. If I never see you again, think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. And be safe, be smart, wear a mask, stay home as much as possible. And please don't do anything that would put others in harm's way. So be safe.